Yo people, what's going on? How you doing? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well. I really do hope that, and welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it, but more importantly, as always, asking for yours. In 14 hours in time of recording, Chelsea will kick off against Palmeiras. Kick off! Not a fight, a football match. I am going to be asleep. Disclaimer, but I'm going to watch the replay as soon as I wake up, very early, and I will not look at the scores and I will react accordingly. So it will just be a delayed match review. But today, this is a Chelsea news video. I want to speak about three things. Jamie Gittens has been confirmed by Borussia Dortmund, but not Chelsea at time of recording. I expect that to happen today. Heck, it could have happened easily by the time you're watching this. I do theorise that perhaps they held fire, of course, because of the tragic news of Diogo Jota and his brother yesterday, which would have been the right thing anyway to postpone any transfer announcements and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that briefly in the fee. Noni Madueke to Arsenal and the fallout from Arsenal fans. Pretty darn interesting. We'll speak about that. And Cole Palmer's new position. That's interesting too. Because we're going to have a lot of right-sided players, it would seem. And that's even if Noni goes to Arsenal. So we're going to get into all of it today. Guys, hey, listen to this. So many of you watch my content, but you know what? You're not subscribed. Why not, eh? Let's get those numbers up. I'm like under 5,000 from 200,000 subscribers, which is a big, lovely, round number. So many of you will watch this video and you'll be like, you know what, Jan? I'm not actually subscribed, and there's no reason to not be. I'm going to subscribe now. You know, you don't have to hit the bell notifications icon, though I recommend. And by doing that, you're helping me out. We're in this together. It's a community journey. So thank you for subscribing. Right, where should we start? I'm not going to do screen shares for the moment because it's not really needed for presentation. But yes, Borussia Dortmund did publish the confirmation on their official website and platforms yesterday that, yeah, Gittens is off to Chelsea. See you later, mate. Cheers for your service. There was like quotes from the sporting directors like, yeah, he's wicked. Gittens is wicked. He's off to Chelsea. See you later, mate. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here, but that was that. When Maresca spoke in his press conference not long ago, he was asked about this, and he was like, all right, is it official in Chelsea? Which it's not, apparently. But no, not so much joined up thinking there. And to be honest, though Chelsea have a good relationship with Borussia Dortmund, we have for a while, since, like, you know, sending them batch Y. I think he did quite well there. You know, obviously they've Ian Martson, Carney Chukwuemeka loans, you know, stuff like that. And so there's obviously a good open dialogue there, but this whole transfer saga has been peculiar. We tried to avoid the Club World Cup tax. They registered him to the Club World Cup squad, cup-tied him so we couldn't use him. And now they're doing this weird, like, pre-announcement. The whole thing's very strange, and I don't think, if we're supposed to have a good relationship with them, you know, like we are other teams in football, in terms of transfer negotiations, we're not really showing it that well with how this transfer's gone out. But the reported fee is £48.5 million, plus 3.5 million in add-ons, which actually is less than I thought, because we were hearing 55 plus add-ons, so everyone was thinking 60 million quid all in. But actually, it's 1.5 million pounds less than 50, and the 3.5 million in add-ons could be what? Winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League. And if that happens and Jamie Gittens is your starting left winger and you've won the Champions League, you'll be like, yes, mate, you can have the extra 3.5 million. We're good football team again. Worth it. So let's just talk about the base fee, £48.5 million in this current market. Anthony Elanga's going to Newcastle for 55 million quid. He hasn't played Champions League football, for Forest at least, where he's playing well. But yeah, 55 million quid for Elanga made me think, oh, we're going to be paying the same or whatever. But to be honest, £48.5 million for Gittens. In the end, I know we were all saying 30 million, 35, but the reality struck that we really wanted him and he was highly rated. And I do think there's genuine truth in Bayern Munich wanting him. The sporting director, Sebastian Kerl, said, the talks with Chelsea were challenging, but ultimately we are pleased that we can most likely realise our financial ambitions and then have planning security. Jamie is an outstanding player who has given us a great deal of pleasure. Ooh. He now wants to take the next step in his career at Chelsea. We all know that. We all know he wants to come to Chelsea after he, razzed it away aggressively from the training ground in his fast car after the negotiations were stalled. He wants to come to Chelsea, join the Man City Academy revolution. And we wish him all the best at Chelsea. Where's my transition? So there you go. Gittens for £48 million. I'm just going to pause the recording. It's still so hot. I don't know why. These thermoses that you bring, your own like coffee cup, rather than you save the planet and all that. Things they keep it so hot for so long, which is great on a cold day. But a hot day like today, sweltering behind studio lights, scalding my neck when all I want to do is ingest coffee. Before we talk about Palmer's new position, let's talk about Noni Madueke, because there's truth to this, okay? First of all, I don't need to keep saying it, Arsenal love Chelsea players. Just recently, the recent iteration of this transfer relationship, Petr Cech, David Luiz, Willian, Kai Havertz, Jorginho, Raheem Sterling, on loan, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Arteta loves it, mate. It never ends. It never stops. So, and look, Noni Madueke, let's be very clear and let's also be consistent. He's a very good footballer with a high ceiling. Some people question his attitude. Heck, I've questioned his attitude quite a lot over the last couple of years. But he's clearly a good player. He's clearly got a high ceiling. He can play on both sides. He's young. He's 23 with a lot of experience now. He does score goals. He's won a man of the match for the England first team. Like, he's an full England international. He's a real player. So I don't want to sell him to Arsenal. It's not going to make me lose sleep because you know what? I'm used to selling players to Arsenal now. I've just reeled off a load of them. We do that. It's something I had to watch Petr Cech go to Arsenal, which was, David Luiz, I didn't really care at that point. Willian, I didn't care at that point. Havertz was a weird one. I always admired Havertz as a player, but he was never, undisputed the guy for Chelsea. Jorginho was fine. I mean, it's all kind of fine, wasn't it? I've never really... Probably out of all of them, Noni, for me, would be the one going, oh, it's because I don't know what he is yet. He could be very good. I don't think he's going to be amazing. That's the only thing. And ultimately, right now, you could make a strong case, and we'll speak about the Cole Palmer new position in a moment. You could make a strong case for him not starting in Chelsea's strongest 11. Some people will think, but he's scored loads of goals over the last couple of years, but the way Pedro Neto... I've never for 1 second insinuated Noni is better than Neto. I was very excited about Neto signing. I was a bit frustrated with how long it took him to get going, but he's an amazing footballer. I've seen him rip apart Man City. I've seen him rip apart Chelsea. He's 25. He's a Portuguese international. Of course, heavily affected by the tragedy yesterday. Might not be featuring later tonight. But he's our starting right winger, unless Esteval will play on the wing and becomes amazing in 6 months and is, you can't argue with it. So with that, if the money being talked about for Noni is 55 million or 50 plus 5 million or 45 plus 10 million. So let's say 55 in total, nearly doubling your money on Noni Madueke. Huge transfer profit, huge book profit for the accountants at Chelsea that love all that. And maybe you'll be losing a player that isn't your first choice starter. Of course, you need to look at it from an Arsenal-centric view. It makes them better. First foremost, and the biggest thing is, he's quite similar profile to Saka in terms of being a touchline 1v1 winger who is left-footed and will play with chalk on his boots. And that is amazing for them because they play Saka way too much. They need to give him rest. They can also play Madueke on the left side. Even though it's not his favoured, preferred, and more native position, he will do well there and do a job. He won man of the match for England on the left wing. So you are making Arsenal better, but maybe in a way where you make a lot of money and you're sort of like, Arsenal are going to be good regardless. This guy, we're not selling him Cole Palmer, we're not selling him Caicedo, we're not selling him Reece James, we're selling him Noni Madueke for a lot of money, and he's not a starter. you look at it from that way, it's copium, hopium, you sort of make it work, don't you, in your head, and you're like, yeah, right. But what I do find interesting is the Arsenal fan culture, not culture wars, but like the fallout. A lot of them, like the content creators, are reacting to it like it's a disgrace. Like, it's mental. Of course, a lot of people wanted other targets. They've sort of been loosely linked with Rodrigo of Real Madrid, and of course seeing Arda Güler start in his position, which isn't even his position. He's playing out of position on the right, and he's not even playing that at the moment because it looks like Arda Güler is playing for Xabi Alonso there. So there's obviously this loose links for Rodrigo, who's an amazing footballer, Galactico to Arsenal. Of course, Nico Williams, we wanted him as well. He's just re-signed. Literally, I'm going to speak about it on the second channel. Perfect opportunity for a plug. The second channel, Football Yannick, the non-Chelsea football content. I'll be talking about Nico Williams. The Barca fans calling him a snake. It's happening again, like Real Madrid did it with Mbappe, didn't they? And Yamal wanted him to end up there, but Barca still can't register players. It's pretty crazy. And Gerard Moreno, the Barcelona content creator, said it's 150% done. Yeah, I'll be talking about that on the second channel. But yeah, back to Arsenal, Madueke. So they wanted your Rodrigos, they want your Nico Williamses. Martinelli might be off to Saudi. And to be honest, if I was a gunner, I'd be like, yeah, because he's being linked for like over £70 million. Martinelli's a good player. He's young, he's exciting. He has really like explosive, high octane moments. He's never been massively productive. He's very transitional. So if you want a bit more 1v1 player, as in like more, you could a Noni or a Rodrigo, because you could probably buy Rodrigo for the money you sell Martinelli for to Saudi, and then it just becomes a wages issue. But I was very interested just to see. I think most of the Arsenal fans are happy with Kepa. I know some Chelsea fans are trying to banter and be like, you sort of taking our deadwood. But really, it's sort of a move that just suits everyone because he was a book profit because he was extended and then he got release clause, so it's £5 million book profit, obviously it was a mistake long term because they spent so much initially on him. But, he played for Chelsea. He was good in the Europa League win against Arsenal. He was the rotational keeper in the Champions League win. He won his place back afterwards. And, it was a mistake, but it was sort of like one of the more higher profile mistakes, like your Lukaku's, your Kepa in the modern era. Both of which were inherited by the new ownership. The only ones they created for themselves are when Bowley was interim sporting director and he's trying to please Tuchel, buying him Koulibaly, buying him Raheem Sterling, buying him Aubameyang, because that was Tuchel's targets. Of course, we've since developed a sporting project, as it were. Yeah, man. So I think it's peculiar. I think, I get it. They're aligned on Kepa, £5 million backup. Great, as long as he's not on insane wages that hamstrings them financially. It's a good signing, you'd have to say. But I do find it a bit confusing why. Maybe it's because Arsenal fans want Rodrigo and they're like, oh, we're getting Madueke instead of Rodrigo. I mean, if you can look at it as a Saka, deputy backup, also can fill in on the left, and they've got the money. I actually think, obviously, I think it'll be a good sign. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be like, yeah, cool. Scores a few goals, full England international, 23 years old, no problems. But heck, I'm a Chelsea fan, so let's talk about Chelsea stuff. Cole Palmer played on the left wing, or should I say the left pocket, against Benfica, and actually ultimately had a really good game in the end. There's an article on The Athletic by Liam Thom. Go seek it out. It was a few days ago. I'm not going to read it to you now because we've already spent a lot of time on this video. Look, Palmer's played on the left before and Chelsea fans have been like, that was terrible, stop doing it. But he's also played on the right wing under Maresca as an actual conventional right winger. Absolutely anonymous traffic cone. Nothing to do with him. It's a systemic thing. He can't get into the game. It's a pointless endeavour. Whether it's for England or whether it's for Chelsea, playing as a conventional right winger, not for me. I know under Maurizio Pochettino, he in theory started as a right winger, but he came inside and ultimately occupied the right pocket. But there has been games we've seen him do conventional winger stuff. Not for me, mate. Right pocket and indeed left pocket. So LAFC, he played as a sort of touch. I'm looking at the heat maps now. Actually, let me pull this up for you guys. Here we go. So this is on the Athletic. LAFC, which was a sort of a relatively meh performance, but we got the 2-0 win in the end. He played as a sort of right mid, right winger there, coming inside to the pocket, but I suppose... can you not see the cursor? Why can't you see my cursor? That's changed, okay. Well, there's versus LAFC, you can see there, left sort of pocket, right pocket, right wing. Versus Flamengo, it was more just right pocket, less chalk on his boots. We got slapped. Maresca has said it's the first time we've tried something different. It didn't work, essentially. He's admitted that and said, look, Flamengo were good, but he even said that he reiterated this again in his latest press conference. But look here, so he starts on the left pocket on Benfica, does move over, he does have license to swap, but the most of his work's done there. He's a left footer as well, and I think what's a really pertinent point is he has a good relationship with Marc Cucurella, and Marc Cucurella, any Chelsea fan will know who watches the club closely at the moment, will tell you, at the moment, Cucurella is really, really important to Chelsea. He's senior, 25, 26. He's works really hard. He winds the opposition up. He's technically good. He scores goals. He's a really good 1v1 defender. He's a really important player for Chelsea. Probably our second best player last season after Moi Caicedo. Probably just in front of Palmer as well. Palmer obviously tailed off a bit. He's got a great understanding with him. I wonder if how he's going to link up with Joao Pedro and stuff like that. If there'll be a good relationship up the pitch there on the left-hand side. But... with the likes of Neto being undisputed right side player, and this is the future, guys, possibly, there's a future where Maresca plays a system where you have the players, the wingers coming inside a little bit, and maybe there is a future where you have Esteval doing that right pocket coming inside, which is what he wants to do as a footballer, as a talent, as a generational talent, inverted commas. And if Palmer, I mean, it's just Benfica so far in terms of the really good performance. If we see that again, if we see him linking up with Cucurella again, you know, these Jamie Gittens will have a chance, you know, whatever. Tyreek George will have a chance, but maybe, Cole Palmer on that side is something that can be really effective. And maybe it's what he needs to revitalise himself in terms of that. I know he had an amazing performance in the Conference League final and a couple of games towards the end of the season, but broadly he tailed off. And if he can play like that again against good European opposition, maybe it's enough to revitalise him. I'm not trying to permanently move him onto that left side. Of course, he'll have license to switch. Maybe there's a game where both him and Esteval are switching pockets, and it'll be really, really exciting and really, you know, good. But I wanted to speak about that because that could be something in the future we're going to see. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comment section. Thank you as always for liking and subscribing. Road to 200k, you can make the difference, mate. Of course, the game tonight, I won't be watching it real time. I'll be a few hours behind, but I will, of course, cover it. So do keep it locked to Football Therapy. I hope you guys enjoy the football. I hope I enjoy the football. And I'll see you soon. Peace.